Hi everyone, it's Killshot 99 Dead, and this is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 10, complete spoiler. Tonight we've got a really, a really deep, emotional type of episode we're going to talk about. I know it's Valentine's Day. Before we get too far into, all the emotion and the seriousness of the topic, I do want to super chat. What's up, Valar? Happy Valentine's Day to the 99 Army. That would be all of you. We have put warnings up so you guys do know this is going to be a complete spoiler. So I'm not taking credit for any of these spoilers. This is Spoiling Dad's fan page. So shout out to Shiny Firefly. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that spoiler and kind of break it down. It is it's not just a spoiler. It's the entire episode sort of played out. So we're going to really drill down. There's a few little things that are going to make sense because I think there's a symbolic nature to it. But I do have to tell you, last week we were fired up, and one of the things that I said was, I got to kind of go with the flow based on the information I have. So I either like Lydia or I don't like Lydia, or I hate Lydia, I don't like Lydia. So in reading through the spoiler and kind of picking it apart a little bit, the serious topic it deals with, there's a lot of domestic violence and abuse in this episode. So, The Walking Dead is not afraid to jump on controversial topics. But I have a feeling, and I haven't seen the way it plays out, but in reading the the highlights from the script and how it goes, I think we're going to have to be careful in how we judge where Lydia's at. She's lying, she's manipulating. There's going to be some things that happen in this week's episode that I feel like most people are going to easily give Lydia a pass for. Whereas last week I said it's going to be really hard for me to do it. I think when you see the way her memories and her thoughts and everything are just jumbled, and she has been, no doubt about it, brainwashed. So I'm going to walk through the episode. Once again, you have gotten a complete warning. Once again, this is from Spoiling Dead's fan page. It's a lot of information, so I'm not going to read all of the stuff out to you. I'm going to get on a couple topics, and then we'll kind of shift, and I'll tell you kind of where it goes from there. And I'm going to read a lot of your comments. Obviously, if you guys super chat, I will stop whatever we're talking about. Moderators, just let me know because I'm going to be doing a lot of reading. So if there is a chat or something, we will jump around to talk about what you guys want to talk about as well. So here it goes. Many of you saw the opening minutes. There are ways you can go out and search that. So the episode does open with a flashback of Lydia with her father. So Frank is her father, and I think that's going to be some of the confusion. It's going to be kind of like it's going to screw with your mind a little bit, what she remembers and how she remembers it. And I think it's very well done. It's going to feel a little like a filler episode, but it's going to be psychologically deep. No doubt about it. So Alpha is in the early days of the outbreak, and I think it's at day 23. Frank is ranting about how long they've been there. They're back and forth like no one's going to come help. He tells, so you keep hearing Frank say like no one's going to help. Then Alpha singing that song, Lydia the Tattooed Lady. And then we kind of fast forward to the present, and it's that Henry and Lydia dialogue back and forth. So Henry is there at the Hilltop, so Daryl's still kind of eavesdropping on everything, and that's where you kind of get into what Lydia remembers. So Lydia uses kind of the past tense and the present tense. She mixes it up. She says she remembers how cold the look in her father's eyes is, and then she goes, was. So it's kind of like back and forth, right? Like it's still happening to her. She says that she's never been alone because people travel in groups with the dead, and this is where it gets a little bit creepy before you know the whole story. And she says that she misses the sounds of the dead and the smell of the dead. So she's gotten so used to it, and I think that's something to remember. Like all these people, they're around, they're outdoors, they're breathing, they have a little bit of freedom, and then somebody gets attacked, and then, you got to fear people and you got to fear walkers. Well, they just walk around with the walkers. So they've sacrificed a lot of things, and they've just sort of evolved. And what do we say in some of the streams a while back? They kind of evolved through devolving. So that whole thing is normal to them at this point. And it is. It sounds disgusting, but it's going to make a little bit more sense. So Lydia tells Henry, like, your dad's an ass, and because she thinks that Daryl is her dad. And he says, Daryl's not my dad. He's only there to help Carol out. And his mom is tough, not somebody you want to mess with. And then we get a little bit of that comparison we talked about. Like, Lydia's like, well, you know what? My mom's not somebody you want to mess with either. So we do, I think, have the stage set for a Carol and Alpha battle. And probably not a Henry and Lydia battle, because you're going to see some things that are going to make a little bit of sense. So then we get to the wood scene. We get away from the flashback and the current state. So they got to get something else in there. And we got Tara, Cal, Marco, Magna, Yumi, Connie, and Kelly. They're out looking for Alden and Luke. They get a small group of walkers. That's where they're eating the horses. And Yumi says, kind of watch out. If they're not walkers, then, they could have knives. They've seen that before. So they kill the walkers, and then Marco realized the horses were Alden and Luke's, and Kelly tells them the horses were cut open and skinned. And that's when they start to realize, like, wait a minute. Because Tara heard the story that Lydia was telling about Alpha being out there alone. So when he saw the way these horses were cut, they're like, no, she's not out there alone anymore. There's more of them. And Tara's like, we need to get back. So then they go back. There's going to be about 3 different shifts in scenes. You're going to get what's going on with the people Hilltop with the search for Luke and Alden. Then you're going to get the Lydia-Henry dynamic, and then you're going to get the flashback. So hopefully I don't lose you with that. So they go back to the cell, and Henry's trying to relate to Lydia a little bit. He offers her an egg, and she doesn't want it. She says that hunger is a gift. So she's got like all this stuff that I guess Alpha and the Whispers have just sort of told her. Like, the kids in Whispers, the kids in Hilltop, they just eat, they drink, they do whatever. But the people at Whispers were taught, like, you need to appreciate hunger. It's a gift. I guess, believe in the sacrifice. Then she asks, why are you being nice to me? And he says that his brother and his dad were messed up when they were first found, and it took a lot of someone being nice to them to make it again. So Lydia said it'd never be okay again. And, they're back and forth like, says who? And Lydia says her dad. So once again, we get Lydia referencing a bad event that happens with her father. Like, she keeps remembering like all this evil that happened with her dad. Now stick with me, because like I said, it is going to take a psychological turn to the left, and you're going to be like, whoa, that just got weird and creepy. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure to pike the like button. Warning, we are going over complete spoilers. So if you're here, you're going to be spoiled. If you don't want to know what's going to happen, then take off. I got some big news that's going to happen here. It's going to be a little bit touching when we get to it. So they go back to another flashback, and Frank wants to leave with people because supplies are running out. And Alpha, is basically like, look, it's too dangerous, and she doesn't want to orphan Lydia. So Frank tells her, like, you need to grow a pair, and to never suggest he doesn't care about his daughter. So, basically saying, like, you don't care about her, else you wouldn't be doing this. A little bit of that back and forth. Frank apparently takes a pair of scissors and starts trimming his beard. So he's getting rid of his hair. And the reason he's doing it is because he says he doesn't like it, he never could. And Alpha was the one who liked the hair. That's going to be important. He says the world's over, and he's doing whatever he wants. So Alpha starts playing checkers and says checkmate. Lydia smiles and says that's chess. And of course, that's the scene that you see up on the screen right now with the chessboard. You know what I mean. Then we go back to current times, Hilltop. Lydia, is kind of smiling at the memory of her mother and father before it got a little bit too crazy. And she says, he always, and then she corrects it a little bit different. This is where it gets creepy, everybody. She always said that. So now she's confused of who's who. What her father said and what her mother said. Very, very important factor. She asked Henry if it was the second mom that found him. He says, no, it's Ezekiel, and they're leaders of the kingdom where he's from. So all of a sudden, we start getting Henry just blabbing a bunch of stuff. Daryl doesn't want to have it, so Daryl takes Henry outside, starts yelling at him, and then Henry, finds out Daryl was listening, and Daryl's like, yeah, me, Enid, a few other, you don't like it, we'll kick your little ass, you little sumbitch. Daryl's probably just going to give Henry, a bunch of flack. So Henry does believe that Lydia's a good person. So Henry is like the first person that thinks that Lydia is salvageable. And then basically Henry tells Daryl he's an asshole, and if he wants answers, to go get them himself. Stop using him. A lot of stuff at this point. I'm going to go through a couple more things, and then I'm going to open up for just a couple questions and a little bit of dialogue. So Daryl's like, you know what? So what? I will. So Daryl goes back in Lydia's cell, and she asks if he's there to kill her. But instead, he offers her medicine. So Daryl had noticed that she was pulling on her ear because her ear was bothering her. And Lydia refuses, and Daryl says, I don't give a shit if you do want it. It's up to you. So Daryl basically, I got the medicine. If you want it, it'll help. If you don't, I don't care. He says, 2 of their people are missing, and they found their horses half skinned and half eaten. Lydia says that she doesn't know anything about it because she's been here. Right? I mean, Daryl's in there like, what do you know about them horses? And she's like, how would I know anything about those horses? You had me locked up. Makes sense. Daryl's probably scratching his head like Shane, like, oh. He asked if her mom would kill people if they crossed them. Lydia says that she would if she had to. So what Daryl's basically getting at is, you said your mom is kind of mean, but if I can see Daryl like doing a hypothetical. Let's just say a couple people were lost. Would your mom kill those people if she happened to find them? And yes, she would. So then we go back to another flashback. And at this point, we're confused. And I do think people that watch the show for let me put it this way. Those of you that are here, the 250, 300 people, this is one of the weeks where I do think the spoiler is going to be a benefit, and I will tell you why. Because when you read this and you break it down, it's a little easier to understand it when you watch the show, because the show is going to create some questions. And I do think that we're going to have some people that are going to watch the show that didn't listen to the spoiler, and they're going to say, Kills, I was a little confused. I didn't understand who was Frank, who was Alpha, what Lydia remembers. I don't say that with a lot of spoilers, but when something doesn't always translate very well to television, having the dialogue definitely helps out. So I do think that it's going to be a strong advantage. All right. So another flashback. Alpha smothers a man in the shelter who was panicking, saying he was weak and he would get them all killed. Frank, now completely shaved, no beard, nothing. He's holding Lydia to comfort her, singing the same song Lydia said Alpha sang to her in the previous flashback. He looks scared and keeps looking at Alpha. Then we go back to the cell. Back to the cell. Lydia tells Daryl that her dad used to sing that song to her when she was scared. Daryl asks how old she was. She's like 5 or 6. Daryl says her mom did what she had to do. Interesting. So, because the way that Lydia told the story, now Daryl is almost sort of sympathizing a little bit with Alpha. That's going to change. He tosses the medicine in the cell because Lydia starts messing with her ear again. Daryl tells Lydia it doesn't have to be like that. There are a lot of good people at Hilltop who will help her if she helps them. Lydia asks for some water, and Daryl tries to hold the dipper up. Lydia tries to hit Daryl, and he grabs her arm, revealing a lot of bruises. Daryl looks at her for a moment and then leaves. So I'm going to hold it right there, and then we're going to get into some more spoilers. So you do see Lydia looking for her opportunity, a little bit of bad memory, a little bit of lying, a little bit of honesty. All three are in the works, but she looks for her escape. She tries to hit him. He grabs her arm and realizes that she is currently being abused. As we said earlier, really, really touchy topic. I'm going to open it up just for a couple questions, a couple comments. Viola McGowan says she can't be trusted. I don't disagree that she can't be trusted, but I don't think it's necessarily malicious just because we can't trust her. And you're going to find out a little bit more as we go through more of the spoilers as well. So right now, up to this point, it looks like Frank is a problem. Alpha is doing what she needs to do to take care of her daughter. At least that's the way Lydia remembers it. But it's going to get a little bit dicey here in a minute. KCF says, I think we'll allude to the abuse, but not go into detail. They are going to go into a little bit of detail. And so we did predict this a while back. And many of you will remember this because it's a very touchy topic in the comic, what happens to Lydia, and there is sexual abuse. And a lot of people have came out and said, look, there's things they won't do on television, like kill a pregnant woman. Well, I think they will. I don't think they're afraid to do that. However, the abuse of a child sexually, I don't think is going to make it on television. I do think that it's going to be a little bit easier, and I mean this just in a comparative standpoint, not that it's easy. I think it's going to be easier for the audience to accept child abuse rather than sexual abuse. And I do think you're going to see probably that be the main storyline. Joyce Andrews says, do you think Daryl was abused as a child? Yes, Daryl was abused as a child. His dad used to put cigarettes out on him. So they are going to give us a few more hints. And you know, as I said, I don't know that they're just necessarily doing this to get us to accept Lydia and hate Alpha, although that is that will happen. I do think this episode is going to bring a lot of awareness, and this is one of those episodes where Chris Hardwick's going to be serious as hell. I mean, I've seen these type of things before. And I do think they're going to have people on the show that are going to say, this is the type of thing that we need to bring awareness to, and it needs to stop. And The Walking Dead just shined a light on it as well. So, all right, let's get to some more spoilers because we got a few more things that we have to get through. Meanwhile, at the Hilltop, we've got Magna and Yumi arguing about going back to search for Luke. So they didn't find Luke the first time, right? So Magna says that she almost screwed things up at Alexandria, you know, basically with the deal with Michonne. And she's concerned that if they go against Tara, they will lose everything, and Luke wouldn't want that. Yumi's worried about Luke. So Magna, because of what she did, she's like, let's just wait it out. But Yumi's like, no, we need to go do it. Kelly reveals she saw some kids sneak out of Hilltop and agrees with Yumi that they should search for Luke. So they take a vote and decide to leave that night. So they're on their way back out. But that night, Daryl returns back to Lydia's cell again, trying to get information. And you can see kind of the clock is ticking, right? Daryl is very, very strategic in this episode. He knows people are missing, Alpha is violent, and if he doesn't get some relevant information as soon as possible, he could run out of time. So that's why he's tried to interrogate, he's tried to threaten her, he's tried to get information out of Henry, they've taken shifts. So I do like what Daryl's doing. He definitely, Daryl's made mistakes in the past, but he does seem like he's given it his best to save the people that are out there and also to save the people that might be in jeopardy very soon. So Daryl does go back to the cell, and this time he has a birch branch. As he strips the leaves off, so this might be a little bit of, I don't know. Let me read this, and then you can tell me whether you think it's a little overboard psychologically that Daryl's kind of bringing back some of these memories. So he's taking the leaves off the birch branch, and he talks about how some dads will use any excuse to beat the crap out of their kids, and they'll use whatever's laying around, like a good switch from a birch tree. So here he has a switch, and he's kind of taking it off, and he's like, you know, some dads will Just beat the shit out of you. I mean, that's what he says. I mean, he says it exactly like that. Daryl tells Lydia that her dad sounds a lot like one of those dads, except the part where he sang to her when she was scared. So now it gets a little bit confusing. You know, Daryl's there, and he's like, well, what did your dad do to you? It sounds like your dad beat you, but it doesn't sound like that because your dad also sang to you. Weird, right? If you're not listening to the spoiler and you're watching this, it's going to be a little confusing. So, and that's the only part of the story that didn't sound like BS. So he says she knew what the branch was for when she came in, and the bruises on her arm are from a beating. He asked if her dad is dead. So Daryl basically says, look, if your dad's dead, who put these bruises on you? This is where the whole episode shifts. Exactly, Viola. She says it was her mom who did it. So all this about how violent her dad was when they were, you know, in the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, well, now we find out currently it's her mom who's doing the beating. So Daryl tries to get her, you know, basically, well, where is your mom? And then he says, why are you protecting her when you feel safer at the Hilltop? And Lydia says, the world belongs to the dead now, and her mom beats her for a reason. Daryl tells her that it's BS, but Lydia says, when you stay soft, people die. So in the comic, Alpha allowed people to take advantage of her daughter. So it appears that in the TV show, Lydia accepts being beaten because that's the way things are. So it does look like they shifted from the sexual abuse to the physical abuse, and that's going to be the underlying story. And apparently, Lydia's okay with it. Like, I walk around with the dead. I miss smelling the dead. I miss my mom. My mom cares about me. My mom's alone. I'm going to protect my mom. It was my dad that did it. Wait a minute. No, it was really my mom that did this, and her mom still does it. Still continues to beat her. And you know what? It might not just be her mom. Those people in the comic that abused her sexually might be abusing, it might be other people kind of taking out their frustrations on Lydia in a physical standpoint. Leave your thoughts and comments. Drama King, super chatting, says, Kills, this is going to be a great episode. It is, because it's going to be, it's going to be real. So, we get another flashback. And in another flashback, Alpha, now with her hair completely burned off, is saying they need to get the body out before he starts to smell. The others vote to wait until morning, when it's safer. Frank, now with a full beard, checks on Lydia and comforts her. When everyone's asleep, Lydia gets up and looks at the man's body. He turns and goes after Lydia. She screams. Her dad rushes over to grab her and hands her to Alpha. The walker kills him, and Alpha comforts Lydia. So at this time, Lydia's flashback is a walker just killed her dad as her dad was comforting her. So now we've shifted from my dad's mean, my mom's nice, to they're neutral. But my dad was killed by a walker, and my mom's comforting me again. It changes again, everybody. We're not done. We've got a ton of people here for the spoiler tonight. You guys are having a great time. Do me a favor. Pike that like button. And also, if you're brand new, if it's your first time on one of our streams, make sure to subscribe. We do spoilers. We do predictions. We do reaction videos. And I am going to take a brief second because I know we got a ton of new people in here before I get to the next part of the spoiler, and just let you guys know just a little bit of the schedule we do. So on Sunday mornings at 12 o'clock, we do a Walking Dead topic. At 8 o'clock, we do a Walking Dead countdown. And then after The Walking Dead, we do a reaction video. So you got 3 videos right there talking about The Walking Dead. Then on Monday night, we will do a 8 o'clock recap of the show, some of the things that we liked, some of the interesting topics, and then we will talk Passage. That's another show that we do. That will be at 10:10 after the Passage. Then on Tuesday night, we do the 5 best scenes from the episode, and then on Wednesday, we do our bold predictions. So Wednesday's bold predictions, and why do we do them on Wednesday? Because Thursday night is when we do the confirmed spoilers. So that's what we got going on, everybody. Nothing on Friday. Friday is just it's a chill night, so no streaming then. And then Saturday mornings for international viewers, we do a live stream at 11 o'clock a.m. All right, here we go. We've got Daryl after the walker kills her dad in her memory. And thank you so much, Speedo Smith, Best 99 channel on YouTube. If it is the best channel for The Walking Dead on YouTube, it's because of each and every one of you. Because you guys make it amazing. Your participation, your thoughts, your predictions, your involvement, definitely that's the reason I'm here. All right, let's jump into, here's Lydia. She's upset. She's remembering her dad dying, and Daryl tells Lydia, look, it wasn't your fault. You're just a little girl. Says it. She says she was stupid and deserved to die, but her dad was soft and now he's dead. So Lydia's like basically saying, I killed my dad because I couldn't do the right thing. And Daryl says that's not true, and they're making it better. Lydia tells Daryl that he doesn't belong with these people. He's more like her people. He's hard. They're soft. Daryl says she doesn't know anything about him. Lydia asks him to tell her, but Daryl leaves. So now you got Lydia. Listen to this. This is where it just got crazy. This is not Alpha using psychology. This is Lydia getting in Daryl's head. Maybe indirectly, but she's like, look, I got my dad killed. No, you didn't. Now Daryl's starting to sympathize a little bit. Hey, Daryl, you're tough. Come with us. You belong as a part of us. You shouldn't be with these people. You're hardcore. They're too weak. They're going to end up dying eventually. All right. Moving on, everybody. Magnus Group uses a hidden log tunnel to sneak out of Hilltop. Yumi keeps watch and enters the tunnel last. Daryl storms out of the cell entrance. Henry's sitting there, apparently listening to Daryl and Lydia's conversation. It's like, hey, who's eavesdropping? This thing works both ways, right? Daryl keeps walking. Henry follows him. Daryl tells Henry that Lydia's too messed up and it's a waste of time. I don't care if she is sorry. It's a damn waste of time. Daryl says she's Tara's problem. Henry asked Daryl if someone used to beat him too. So Henry's been listening to what Lydia and Daryl have in common, and now, did someone used to beat you? And Daryl doesn't answer. So Henry tells him this. All right. This absolutely sent chills up my spine. So I want you guys to be prepared for this. You might have heard this already, but this was some of the big spoiler news that this is tough. All right, I'm going to start back with that. Nope, it's not Henry's downfall. It's a different type of spoiler. All right? Just be ready, okay? And it's not a lie. So Henry asked Daryl if someone used to beat him too. Daryl doesn't answer. Henry tells him that he heard Carol telling Ezekiel that she used to keep her hair so short because when it was long, her husband would pull her hair and grab it when she tried to get away. He would pull her hair and slam it against the wall, which is why Carol kept her hair short all of these years. And she finally grew her hair out because she felt so safe and so comfortable again being with King Ezekiel. I'm sorry. That is... It's sad. It's serious. It's touching in a couple different ways. And when I read this, I felt such a stronger connection between Ezekiel and Carol that of all the things that Carol went through, she found happiness. And if Ezekiel dies at this fair, at this red fair, and now we get the backstory to, and look, I know Carol is getting close with Ezekiel, but when you kind of think about it from that perspective, not only does she love Ezekiel, but she finally feels comfortable that this is a life that she can embrace. If Alpha takes Ezekiel away from Carol, and this is why I'm saying if, it's on. It's on a whole different level. All right. Hopefully everybody had a chance to breathe after that. I'm gonna keep going. He says that sometimes Daryl acts like one of those guys who slams people's head up against walls, but he doesn't believe that. So Henry compares Daryl to someone who participates in domestic violence. Except he says, but I see you acting like that, Daryl. I see how upset you get, but I don't believe you're that person. And he knows that Lydia's people are bad, but he doesn't think that Lydia's bad. So Henry kind of gets it. He's like, I know these people are out there killing, but this person might have some opportunity. And we know that's what's going to set up the storyline. He thinks she's just scared, and Daryl can show her there's nothing to be afraid of. And Daryl says, not just me. So Daryl understands it's going to be an entire group effort. All right. I'm going to pause for a second, open it up just for some of your thoughts, some of your comments. I told you guys it was heartbreaking. And, I think when you see that, the first people, you think like, okay, somebody died. We're losing somebody this episode. But Angela Kang is doing some things with The Walking Dead that's not just about introducing new characters and killing off new characters. She's getting into the real emotions of people. Things that people relate to. And I think some of these streams are going to raise some questions, and they're going to make it difficult for us to, you're going to really feel what that character feels. And, a show like this, I guess you kind of should, right? I mean, life is not always perfect, and sometimes you go through those emotions, and not that you want to experience them, but being able to sympathize and empathize makes you understand them a little bit more. Not all the way, but to understand them a little bit more. All right. Okay, I'm going to get to the next spoiler. And here it is. So, we're back in the woods. This is Magna's group. They got some tracks. They're tracking them down. Yumi is a little upset, so Magna's going to go talk to her. They talk about Coalport, and Yumiko feels guilty that they had to abandon it. Drama King kills anything on the convo between Daryl and Alpha. It is drama at the end. We're going to see as little of Alpha as we did last week. So again, another little bit of a tease, and I'll get to that in just a couple minutes because we'll be right there. And it's at the end. And yes, I will have to do an Alpha voice impersonation because there are some words she's going to say. I'll do my best. So they had to abandon their area. They get interrupted because a walker attacks Kelly, so we do get a little bit of action. We get some walker fighting. Yumi says she wants to help Luke, but this is going to get them killed because now they're getting surrounded. Magna and Connie agree. Connie says they'll come back when they have a plan. Kelly tearfully says she remembers the last day at Coalport, so they're doing some reminiscing too. She got separated and Luke found her, and she can't leave him out there. So Connie comforts her and tells her the others to head back, and she'll stay and talk to Kelly. They split up, and people are watching them. Splitting up is always bad. So you got Connie and Kelly and Yumi and Magna. They should have stayed together, everybody. We got Sherry Bentley. I think Sherry Bentley just super chatted because she wants to hear me do the Alpha lines at the end. I think that was it, wasn't it, Sherry? But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Meanwhile, back at the jail cell. I mean, look, Connie and Kelly can defend themselves before we get to that. But I'm going to keep Magna somewhat close to me. I think Magna can kill some stuff and hold her own. So, yeah, I'm not going to say, you guys go back, I'll stay here and look. I'm going to be like, forget that. Splitting up is bad. All right, so Henry, this is where, last night we talked about this, right? you like Henry. Like when Henry's a kid, you felt like, okay, he's training with Morgan. Then he lets Gregory out. And we go back and forth with Henry. So you can see that he sees something in Lydia other people don't. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I didn't like Henry when I first saw him do that. But now that we get a little bit more of the backstory, I'm like, okay. You understand her. You relate to her. But then here he goes again. He pushed the envelope a little bit with Daryl. But at the same time, he's like, hey, this is what's going on with my mom. And hey, were you abused? So he's very inquisitive. I mean, he wants to know. And I think Henry he's genuine. He genuinely does want to know, and he wants to help people. And I can't hold that against him, but then he does something stupid, and I do hold it against him. So here we go. Here's Hennessy once again. So he goes back to the jail cell, and he tells her that Daryl doesn't know he's there. So he sneaks there. First of all, there's your problem. You don't do things. You keep doing things behind people's back. He likes her, thinks she's a good person, and he wants to show... All right. Are you guys ready for this? Really? He likes her, wants to show her Hilltop's a good place with good people. He unlocks her cell and says he's letting her out of the cell for a bit. No, Henry, you let Gregory out. Now you're letting Lydia out. What is wrong with him? Was he drinking again? He says, before I get into this is Villar super chatting. He could like her, but for God's sakes, don't give info out. Right, Villar, he's giving info out, and now he's not just giving info out, he's letting her out of the cell. So he unlocks her cell, and then he says they just have to be quiet and stay out of sight. Shh. Henry's drinking the Kool-Aid already. He's whispering. Gotcha, Henry, you're already a whisperer. They both stumble and fall when they see someone. So they're kids being kids, right? Like, come on, let me show you the Hilltop. This is some cool stuff. Oh, and then they fall down. They fall, and Henry says, we should stay here until it's clear. So he says they should stay there till it's clear. And then, for the love of God, what's going on? Lydia eats a worm and gives one to Henry. It is not written whether Henry eats the worm. I'm assuming he does. Yeah, if that's wrong, you guys can officially blame Shiny Firefly at Spoiling Dead's fan page. But I'm assuming it's right because this is very detailed information. Lydia eats a worm and gives one to Henry. It better be intoxicated on tequila if somebody's ever going to give you a worm. All right. This is where it gets a little crazy. Henry shows her around, and Lydia asks how long it's been. And Henry says it's been built for over 6 years. So here's giving more information. Oh boy. Lydia sees a hammer. Lydia sees a hammer and picks it up and puts it behind her back. And she tells Henry that places like this aren't supposed to exist. Her mom says they couldn't. She's planning to attack Henry. She's getting ready to bash Henry's skull. But she hears a baby crying and sees a mom comforting the baby. She panics and has quick flashes of all the memories she previously shared, realizing that she had reversed her dad and mom. So, she has the hammer. She's getting ready to hit Henry. A baby cries. She looks. She sees the mom. And now she realizes I was completely wrong. It's my mom that's been doing all this, not my dad. She asks Henry to put her back in a cell. She asks Henry to stay with her. So he stretches out on the floor next to her cell and holds her hand. So, takes her back to the cell. Lays down, falls asleep. Henry's in deep. And then we get to the next morning. Guess who's going to see the two of them together the next morning? Anybody want to take a guess here before we get to the confirmed spoiler? Also, 300 people here. Do me a favor. That means 200 people have not drugged their mouse over to the left and hit the like button. Come on, guys. You guys are having a good time. If you like what we do, just drag that mouse over. Get it over 200 likes as quick as possible. Thank you so much, everybody. Next morning, Daryl brings Lydia breakfast, and he catches Henry. He tells Daryl she didn't want to be alone. Lydia says her ear hurts and asks if Daryl still has the pills. Daryl gives her some water. Lydia tells them that her mom's not coming for her. Now we're going to get some information about Alpha. She says when someone dies or gets taken, they move on, like they never existed. She admits that she was trying to find out as much information as she could, so when she escaped, she would have something to give them back, so something she could give them, some information, so they would take her back. Now, that doesn't sound all bad, does it? Let's forget the part where she was getting ready to kill Henry. Lydia has been abused. She's afraid to go back. She wants to go back, but they won't take her unless she gets some information. So she's trying to find out as much as she can. Lydia's going to be a tough character for us to really understand, or relate to, or like, or dislike. So, Henry's shocked that Lydia's mom would abandon her, and Daryl asks about missing people. You know, what happens when people are missing? And Lydia says her mom found them. She can't think of a reason she'd keep them alive. So Lydia's basically like, look, she found a couple people. Why would she keep them alive? We don't need them. She tells them where their camp was, but says they don't stay in one place long. Henry asks if the story about her family was true. Lydia tells him she thought it was, but she had it all mixed up. Her mom told it to her over and over for years, but deep down, she knew what her mom did. So, there you go. I mean, at this point, we can see that Alpha has been brainwashing her daughter over and over and over again. So now Lydia gets more of a pass, and Alpha just went to like complete freaking evil. You will hate her, and now you are off on where we thought at the beginning of this episode, you know, poor Alpha, we know that it's been her the whole time. So here we go. They actually show the repeat of the flashback where Lydia was attacked by the walker. Now she remembers how it happened. Another man was bitten by the walker, and her dad saved her from the other man. During the chaos, Alpha starts prying boards off the window and says they're leaving. Frank doesn't want to leave their friends, but Alpha says they're idiots. They got stuck with them and they're putting them in danger. So remember where it was Frank that wanted to leave, it was Alpha. No, it was really Alpha prying the board, say, we need to get out of here. Alpha initially in the first dream sequence says, I don't want to orphan my child. Frank didn't want to orphan his child. So Frank doesn't want to leave their friends. Frank refuses to leave and says Lydia is staying with him. And Alpha says, the hell he is. The hell he is. Frank tells Lydia to wait for him while he checks the stairs. Alpha follows him, slams him against the wall with one hand over his mouth and the other over her lips to shush him. So we know that Alpha killed Lydia's father. So we go back to the cell. Lydia cries and finishes the story. She says her mom got her knife and then breaks down. Daryl tells her it's okay. They've heard enough. Lydia says she's sorry. She couldn't help and she wasted their time. Daryl says she didn't, and Daryl leaves. Whew. This is heavy, man. This is a heavy episode. All right, let's jump to the next part of the spoiler. Magna and Yumiko make it back to the hilltop. Of course, you know they left two people behind. And they see Tara guard with binoculars. Yumiko tells Magna they need to talk to her. Henry follows Daryl out of his cell, asks him why a mom would do that to their kid. Daryl tells him some people ain't meant to be parents. Henry asks if Lydia can stay. Daryl says they'll see, and tells Henry to get Lydia some fresh clothes. He's going to talk to Tara about the camp. Henry and Daryl says he's glad he and his mom are friends. Yumiko joins Tara at the guard post, apologizes. They kind of get the back and forth, and they see Kelly and Connie being escorted to Hilltop by a couple of guards. Connie is a good distance behind Kelly and the guards. Tara tells Yumi that the guards saw them sneak out. She wasn't taking any chances. She says that she gets it, but next time, make sure just come and talk to us. So it looks like Tara is becoming a pretty solid leader, too. Where's Pete D? Pete D, I need your opinion on Tara. Looks like she's finally getting it. She says that she gets it, but next time, okay, we got that. She doesn't know if she's doing the right thing, but she doesn't want any more people to die. Yumiko nods in agreement, but then spots a group of whisperers approaching the hilltop. This is going to be like a scene from Jaws, I think. It's like Magna and Yumi are there. Then you got Kelly. Then you got Connie. So, all right, we got Connie sees the whisperers through the gaps in the corn. Kelly sees them and tries to run to Connie, but the guards stop her. Connie waits for her to go, and she hides in the cornfield. Tara sees the guards bring Kelly in through the gate safely and signals the other guard post. She calls out to Daryl Magna below to join them on the guard post. And here, Drama King, Alpha marches toward the group of whisperers to stand in front of them at the gate. Daryl and Magna join Tara and Yumiko on the guard post and watch, and Alpha calls out to the group. I am Alpha, and she wants my daughter. So Alpha wants her daughter. That's the way she's going to say it. We got a new word for everybody. That's it, everybody. That's the spoilers. So I know, look, that's a 45-minute reading I just went through with everybody, and tried to be as thorough as possible. Once again, want to thank the Spoiling Dead's fan page for giving us all that information. Obviously, they have scripts and have seen it. Helpful, hurtful, wished you wouldn't have listened to a spoiler video, or because of all the information out there, do you think it's going to make it just a little bit easier to digest? Do it again. I am Alpha. I'm here for my daughter. There you go. Who in 2 scenes had some water. Because she did slap the water out of Daryl's hand, and then Daryl gave her water the second time. So, and water rhymes with daughter. Everything Geek says, I'm new, but I've listened for over a year now. Well, thank you. One, I'm glad that you have listened for a long time, and appreciate you being a long-time fan. And I do want to, I want to thank all of you. You guys have made this channel, all of the channels we have, just grow beyond my my wildest dreams. A quick recap. No, Scrody. You're going to have to listen to the whole thing. And you can watch all the ads when you watch the playback, too. That would be great. So I'm going to open it up for a couple questions, super chats, comments, whatever you guys want to do. I do want to say that, and as I do this every stream, this 999 Dead, we wanted to build this up during the off season because we're going to have streams on 999 Gaming, 80,000 subs there. Unbelievable support that you guys over the last 3 years in building that channel. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. We started building 999 Dead as well. We're going to have some specific, we're almost 2,500 here, I think. So once again, just an awesome group of people. Very few trolls, just good hardcore fans. So we built this one up, and then we got 999 Army. So over the next couple weeks, you're going to see content on each one of those. But I'm extremely blessed and thankful to have each and every one of you. So when someone says, hey, I've been a longtime fan, or I've been a Patreon for 3 years, or I've watched your videos ever since you were doing Empires and Allies videos and Walking Dead Road to Survival, and then we transitioned to start to really get into more topics. Thank you. I mean, there's nothing like the support we've gotten from this channel. Absolutely incredible. Viola says, why do you think Connie is lagging behind going back to Hilltop? Well, one, they want to stay back a little bit to get to Luke, and it just looks like maybe a walker. I didn't get all those details, but it could have been a walker. It separated them, not a big deal. And Kelly just got a little bit further along. And the guards got to Kelly first. And no doubt about it, 1189 Paris says also great moderators have made this channel. You are 100% correct with that. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. You know what? Hey, I'm going to throw it out there. I need a moderator like button support. If you guys like the moderators here, give this video a thumbs up. Get this thing up to 150, 160, 170. Show the mods a little bit of love. Because they are some hard-working people. They do an amazing job. And happy Valentine's Day to you as well, Sheila Mack. Everybody, pike the like button for Alpha. All right, everybody. That's what I'm talking about. I want to thank you guys. We are 51 minutes. We are going to wind this thing down. We got some crazy good spoilers this week. So there will be no stream tomorrow night. You guys do some fun stuff. Hang out. Saturday, we will do a Saturday 11 a.m. stream. So we will have a Walking Dead topic. And we will, our international viewers, that works well for them. We got people on the other side of the ocean. So just want to hit a different time. Drama King, the Daryl Alpha convo is going to be significant. Alpha will try to intimidate Daryl, but we know Daryl is scared of nobody. Alpha will respect him. And Drama, it looks like that's going to happen in 11. Based on the information I got, that looks like a pretty full episode. But it is. And I think we're also going to find out in 11, what's up with Luke? What's up with Alden? Did both of them make it back? I don't think so. And true, I know a lot of people are like so anxious to see that beta introduction as well. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Really, really quickly, I want to just thank the patrons in top left-hand corner. Also, several people super chatting it up in a spoiler video tonight. We got Valar, Drama King, Speedo, Sherry Bentley, Everything Geek, Drama doing multiple super chats tonight, Valar. Thank you so much. Appreciate everything that you guys do to support this channel. From our moderators to our sponsors in the top right-hand corner. As we said earlier, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. This is the Season 9, Episode 10 complete spoiler video. So don't share this with people that don't want spoilers. But if they do, then invite them here, and we'll definitely talk every week. And keep in mind, Sunday's a big day for us. We'll do a Walking Dead topic at 12, 8 o'clock. I look forward to seeing all of you back here for the countdown. And, of course,